So I got a question a couple of months ago from a pastor friend of mine, just looking for some counsel and some thoughts on things. And he asked me what my opinion was of having people from your worship team on secular bands outside of the church. And of course, there's nuances to his situation, which I won't go into, but I did have some thoughts on it. I have thoughts on secular music in general. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, there's all of the things to consider, like when you're playing in a band like that, where is the band going to be playing? What are you performing at? Like, you know, what music are you going to be doing? But I think some of the thoughts that I have about it are maybe not like the typical pastoral answers. So, you know, going back a little bit, just experience-wise, because I'm a little older than you guys.
A little bit.
I grew up in a time where in youth group, like the dangers of rock and roll and secular music, that was like the hot topic in youth group. You know, we were watching videos like Sorcerers of Rock and Roll.
Yeah, is that when they would like buy the CDs and burn them?
Yeah. No.
No?
There were no CDs back
Oh,
then. Yeah. Sorry. No, you've jumped forward in history.
Yeah.
No, it was buying records and burning them. Yeah. And then maybe cassette tapes. So, you know, I remember our first family car had an 8-track player. So, you know, keep in mind, I was born in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, you know, back then, the big thing was, you know, backward masking. Like they would put the records on the record player and like slowly turn them backwards. And they would say there's some encrypted message from the devil that way.
Yeah, that was like a whole Led Zeppelin album.
Yeah,
or something, right? Or Pink Floyd, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Queen. Freddie Mercury.
Hidden demonic messages. Or something.
Yeah. Like supposedly, another one bites the dust when you did it backwards. It said smoke marijuana. Right. So we would watch all these videos, and honestly, like with that stuff with the records, I would listen to the video, and we even tried it on our own record players. I could never make anything out of it. Even in the movies they were showing about it, I was like, I don't hear that at all, you know? So, and then, you know, strangely enough, that all went away when they stopped making records.
Yeah. Is that how they discovered DJing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the first guy to ever scratch was a youth pastor.
Yeah, he's looking for some demonic message.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. So, you know, I didn't put a ton of stock in it when I was a kid, as far as youth group went and everything else. It wasn't like a big deal to me. And then, of course, later on, I started playing guitar. I started, you know, playing with different bands and being into secular music. And of course, we ended up getting out there partying and doing all these things. Eventually, that was not great.
Slippery slope, Chris.
Yeah. You could say that was the slippery slope. Some would point to that and say it was. I think it might have been different factors that contributed. But when I ended up coming to the Lord for real, when I was 20 years old, there was just something internally in me that said, okay, now I have to accept everything that I had heard or learned while I was growing up. So, you know, for me, it was like, well, you're a Christian now. Christians don't do this. Christians don't listen to this. Christians don't play this. Christians don't drink this. Christians, you know, it was like a whole list of things that I didn't even necessarily get through like discipleship or get through studying the word or anything else. It's just like I had seen this my whole life. And now that I'm a Christian, I know just from what I had seen, this is what Christians do and don't do. So I basically didn't even play guitar for like the first 2 years I was a Christian because I was like, what's the point? Like I didn't even know what I felt like playing. It was like, I'm listening to Michael W. Smith and all this stuff now.
On top of that.
Yeah. So it was just like, I guess it's over for me. So I just, the church I was going to, they played kind of country music worship. So I just started playing the bass for them and just boom, 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 boom. That was like my music experience. And then slowly I started finding some like, Christian rock bands here and there that I listened to. But it was a real process for me, like kind of navigating, okay, what is okay and what's not okay? Like doing those things prayerfully and through the word, not just from what I had been told when I was 11 years old, So, that was, I guess the point of that is my opinions on this have radically changed from when I was 20 to now when I'm about to turn 50, right? Like it's just 100% different than what it used to be, because used to be that, secular music along with a whole list of other things were just like completely off limits for Christians. Since then, I've kind of relaxed on those things a lot, so and I guess we can get to that in a minute. I think this is a good topic too, having like you and I in this conversation, because of course you've been a musician for most of your life and you've done the whole arc.
Played in some bars.
Yeah. So, we've both got a lot of kind of perspective on this, So,
I think, I don't know, I guess my own experience with this is growing up in a Christian house. My parents mainly listened to Michael W. Smith. Give me some other ones. I mean, I was excited to find like Audio Adrenaline,
Twyla Paris, Sandy Patty.
Okay, yeah.
Now I'm probably predating you with those.
I don't know those names, but I'm sure they listened to it.
Amy Grant.
Yeah, but I remember like DC Talk was like, what?
Yeah,
this is fun. But I also had older brothers. And I remember, it's weird. It's like something. I guess it's not super weird when you think about it because we're all just kind of broken. But I remember hearing Eminem when I was 10,
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it. It's the worst, most vulgar content.
It's not
I
good.
didn't understand it.
No.
But like I stumbled upon my brother's CDs and I was checking out this stuff and it blew me away.
Yeah.
And that kind of kicked off this interest that I have and kind of the no-nos in the Christian household, and that went in and out, I don't know, throughout me growing up. Like there was times when I was a teenager when my brothers would be listening to something that had a curse word in it, and I'd be like, we can't listen to this, But at the same time, I kind of had an attraction for it, and it wasn't all bad, But I definitely loved the creativity of secular music in a lot of ways. So then growing up, I ended up really just loving bands like the Dave Matthews Band.
Sure.
I mean, honestly, is still one of my favorites.
What?
I know.
You still listen to Dave Matthews?
I know. I don't think he's worshiping Satan.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. But yeah, I don't know. I love music. And then I started playing music, and we did bars and we did drugs and you know, tried to have a good time with it, you know. And this was after I turned 18 and moved away from the church because they didn't like the way I wanted to party. So a little side note on that too is when I left the church and started playing music with these guys and having fun and doing the thing, I felt that the church did not accept me, and these people did accept me.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into it, but what a turnaround I've had since then, and realizing like, no. Like what they were accepting was not me. It was not out of love. It was out of love of their own, you know, I don't know the right word, depravity. That makes it sound bad, but you know, I mean, they weren't accepting me. They were accepting my sin. Which is what I wanted. So coming back to the church and realizing like, no, these people did accept me the whole time. They were just challenging me to be more, you know? And anyways, that's another topic, but started playing music, having fun with that. And then, obviously time catches up with you, have children, suddenly going around playing in bars does not sound like a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I did have a lot of good times playing. You know, I remember there was one show we played at a spot in San Francisco, and it was wild. It was like a big bar hop that was going on, and we had people like lined up outside of the building. They were all just like jamming out, having a good time, and that's what you love about music. You know, it's just that like communal space of having a good time. But like I still have fond memories of all of that, but I do recognize that there are a lot of areas within that that are pitfalls.
100%.
I think God had his hedge up around me, and I think he kind of subtly maybe kept me in line, you know, from going too far, but there's a lot of situations that could have played out differently in my life. Luckily they did not, but so I think we both have a love for music in general, and so the question is, where should the church, I guess, where should you and I stand on it? Is it just like, is it a personal, you know, belief? Is it something the church needs to take a stance on, like a unified stance? I don't know. But it's complicated. It
is complicated.
And really this conversation kind of stems out to a lot of different things, I think. Movies, you know. It does. Just the secular world in general. What part do we as Christians have to play in that? You know, is being set apart from that, does that mean removal? You know, does that mean not participating? I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's so many things to like say about that. It's hard to know where to begin. But I guess, you know, what comes to my mind first is like in church particularly, like what is the purpose of worship music? It's to worship God, obviously. To glorify him. So one of the things that I have kind of you know, that used to be an issue for me is then it's like, okay, I'm driving around in the car listening to worship music all day long, you know, and it's like at a certain point, you know, I'm not actually worshiping every second of the day. And I find that I'm actually just using that music for entertainment. And I'm like, oh, I hate that song. You know, try to find something different. Oh, I don't like that one. I don't, you know. And then it strikes me, it's like, am I listening to this so much that it has lost its potency to me? And in that, is there music that is designed just to be entertainment? Like it's not supposed to be, you know, accomplishing some grand purpose. It's just literally like entertainment. And sometimes I would rather, when I'm just wanting like distraction or hearing something good or hearing some good guitar playing or something like that. Sometimes if I'm wanting entertainment, I don't want to be using something that was designed for worship to try to entertain me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because after a while, I find myself getting critical of it because I'm just looking for what's entertaining me. And it's like, oh, that guitar playing is not very good. Or that's, you know what I mean? And it's like, so, you know, is music that was designed for entertainment, you know, is that necessarily bad? And most people would, you know, you might initially go like, yeah, until you think about it like through. I think nobody has a problem with listening to Mozart or, you know.
How far back do you want to go?
And that's music that is clearly
right?
just designed to, like, you know, basically entertain you, you know. Yeah. And just because it's classical and complex and everything else doesn't take away from the fact that it's not worship. Yeah. It's entertainment. It's people went to a concert to see this music performed, and that was the point of it.
It engages something.
Yeah. So the idea that there is music that's just to be entertaining and not just worship that's not necessarily a bad thing to me. Because, like I said, when I find that I'm listening to worship music for entertainment, I start getting very critical of the music itself. Yeah. Despite it maybe has a wonderful message. Yeah. And it should be something where my heart is turning towards God in it, but I'm not at that spot right then. I'm driving to Walmart and I want to hear some good songs while I'm driving down the road.
Like for me, you know, I'm not going to hear a 7/8 song if I'm listening to worship music, you know, and like as a drummer, I appreciate timing and all of these things that like you're not going to get it. You might find some Christian metal band, not typically. And even then, like there's going to be some things that I probably don't like about it, right? I'm not a big metal guy anyways, but I do think there is a growing category for Christian entertainment though. Like, I don't think of a guy like Forrest Frank as being worship music. Maybe he has aspects of worship within his songs, but when I listen to Forrest Frank, I'm not necessarily like, okay, I need to focus and worship and praise God here. I'm enjoying the music. I'm having fun. Yeah. And it's really cool that that's becoming more popularized. Yeah. But I think that can even cause Christians to become concerned. Well, this looks just like secular music. You know, this looks just like the world. I can't even tell the difference between this Christian guy, Forrest Frank, and this other artist playing on the radio. You know, but I don't know. I think there's...
But like most of the time when you're driving down the road listening to Ep.1 and Caleb or whatever, you know, most of the time they're playing Hillsong. Yeah. They're playing Elevation. They're playing Bethel music. They're playing, and it's just the same worship music that we listen to in church. Yeah. And sometimes I do want to worship while I'm driving down the road. I find especially in the mornings, like when I'm driving in the mornings, for some reason that time is like, it's already started with the word. It's already started with prayer. Yeah. And then I get in my car. It's like, I want to hear some worship and I want to worship the Lord as I'm driving down the road. So it's not like I never worship in the car, but it's just like, if, you know, I'm hearing, you know, Oceans for the 12th time that day on the radio, it's almost like it's losing its value for me. Yeah. You know, and, you know, I would maybe rather at that point listen to some Kansas or something, you know what I mean? Like some kind of classic whatever, or, you know, because I'm just wanting to hear some music. Yeah. At that point. So
it's kind of like finding a good prayer and then just saying that prayer
like,
over and over and
like
over.
The prayer of Jabez or something. It's like, I pray this prayer every day.
Every 5 minutes, I'm going to pray this prayer.
500 times, you're like, okay.
Like, what does this mean? What am I saying?
Yeah. Maybe this just became vain repetition. Yeah. Yeah. So, there's that element of it. And then like going back to the point of worship it is worship. Like, and this kind of ties in with like, if you have worship team members who play on a secular band or whatever. I went to, in 2018, I was at our national conference in Seattle. Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of brothers leading worship at the conference, the Purnell brothers. Great worship leaders, great worship band behind them. Like, they were super solid. And in one of the breakout sessions, they taught a thing on worship teams, like a breakout session. Yeah. What would you call it? Like, I guess a breakout group or whatever. Yeah. So Tori and I went to it, and they said, this was them, they said they actually encouraged their worship team members to be on bands outside of the church, because their opinion was all musicians have kind of an inherent desire on the inside to show off a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Get it out.
Yeah, to kind
out of the way.
So and obviously worship is not about showing off. Yeah. Like worship, when we're playing worship on Sundays, we want to play well. We want to create a great sound. We want to like help usher people into the presence of God. But we don't want to glean one little speck of the attention and the glory that should all be directed to God. Yeah. So I know I think about that as a lead guitar player. Like, do I want to just in this kind of breakout or whatever, like this bridge of a song or something, just start playing this 1,000,000 note per minute solo, or do I want to play something that's kind of ambient and just enhances the whole sound and everybody is still focused on God and not like, oh, wow, that was like pretty fancy guitar playing or whatever. And it's like, well, that's not the point of theirs. So exactly, their thing was, get that out somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a bad thing to show off your chops somewhere. Yeah. It's just Sunday isn't the place to do it.
I do, like, part of me wants to push back on that.
Push back on it.
A little bit, just because the idea that your talent...
I didn't say it, they said it.
I know. No, I'm just kidding. These yahoos.
Yeah, these goofball Purnell brothers.
What do they know?
Yeah, who are these guys?
No, I'm sure they're great. And
yeah, they were okay.
I do, for the most part, agree. There's just something in me also wonders, like, at what good is it to restrain our talent or our gift, that God's given us, right? Like, if somebody's painting a picture and they're in the spirit, mm-hmm. They're not going to make the painting like bad or less interesting, right? Because they want it to not like get any of the attention.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense as an analogy, but like, part of our skill, right, is kind of giving glory to God. Like the fact that we can make such beautiful music and be intricate with it. It's just what I find beautiful is not necessarily what everybody's gonna find beautiful. Yeah. So I think worship's trying to find that common ground. Yeah. Right? Of like everybody can agree this is good and not distracting.
Definitely.
But like as a drummer, like I would love for there to be a space for Christian music, and I'm sure as a guitar player too, for a worship setting even where people can go ham. And just like have fun and praise God. Mm-hmm. Like I imagine David was shredding on his harp, like that's what I think. Like I think he was dancing and having a good time and shredding. So there's part of me that's like,
I don't know if he could shred on the harp, but
if anybody could,
he could do it.
It was David. So,
well, bro, shredding harp there. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not saying one way's wrong or anything like that. But part of me does like kind of wonder, like, okay, are we just kind of like making this acceptable for everybody, you know? And is that like, it's not wrong, clearly. Like, obviously, we want everybody to feel welcome and enjoy the experience of worship. And if me putting down, you know, this 5-bar drum fill, you know, is going to be a distraction for somebody, which it would be.
Because at the end of it, everybody would be like, what?
Go, Jack!
You know,
more like stop. They would be like, please stop.
No, there'd be a bunch of shouts and a bunch of hooting and hollering, and because that's what it does.
Yeah.
If there were like, you know, like this kind of, you know, a song just kind of like dies and it starts to like slowly build back, and I start like hammering on and up, you know, and then I start 2-hand tapping and doing all this stuff. It's like people are immediately, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, so it's like, okay, I don't want you thinking about me that much during worship, but there is a part of me, not like I want to go get in a band or anything, but I do like to show off a little bit, you know, and like do that stuff when
it's
people
not even
are around.
show off. I like to push myself. Right?
I like to show off.
Okay. That's cool.
No, I like to show off a little bit, you know, like even at worship practice, I'll start noodling around. And one, I'm just enjoying playing, and I usually haven't played for a week, and I pick up my guitar and it's like, oh man,
what can
fun.
I do?
Yeah. But two, it's showing off a little bit. It's having fun, you know. So, you know, and maybe there are more venues where it's like, okay, we're having just like a Christian like music night, and people are worshiping, but also people are like busting out their best licks and chops and just going for it, you know. But for the most part, I don't mind if people have a separate outlet, you know, other than just, no, you need to be 100% dedicated here in the church. And, you know, anything else is taking away from that. I don't know that it's taking away from it. I mean, over the years, we've had people from our worship team in theater and performances, in bands, like lots of people, you know? And, you know, I don't even remember it being an issue where I had to go like, hey, you're getting carried away with that, you know? Like all of those people, they were worshipers.
Yeah.
I wasn't having to twist their arm to get them to want to worship the Lord in church, you know, but they also were performers outside of church. And I kind of like that all of those people clearly knew the difference between worshiping in church and performing for a different type of audience, you know? So I guess that's what I'm saying is like, you know, there's worship music and then there's entertainment music. And that doesn't mean that all entertainment music is okay, right? Like, you know, there's probably some Eminem songs that are really just not good for our soul to have to process, you know, that type of information. But I think it's okay to have stuff outside of, you know, the gospel Christian music circle.
Yeah, I think there's something about music that's just inherently good. You know, that doesn't mean it can't be twisted and turned into something that we don't need in our lives.
Yeah.
And that can have a negative effect on us. But, I mean, I think about just, you know, even the way God created us in his image, like I feel like part of that is just our creative capacity.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, the fact that we can find connection through weird noises, you know, through music, you know, it's just odd notes that just go together, and, you know, we come up with all this theory and all this stuff, like, to give language to it, but it's a very odd thing that I think must have been instilled in us from God.
Yeah, and how there, even though it's like yeah, there's a lot of different variations historically on it. Somehow we're all still working with the same notes.
Yeah. It's like
That's
finalized.
weird to me.
It's just done. It
like
is.
3,000 years ago, they were working with the same notes. You know, it's
Yeah.
like,
And it somehow never like the combinations that you put together. It's like a deck of cards. Like, you know, you shuffle it, and every time it's going to come out different.
yeah.
It's
And you'll hear how some cultures, you know, kind of gravitated towards like minors and some majors.
Yeah.
And some are like, you know, very pentatonic heavy or whatever, but it's like they're still working with the exact same notes.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah, like what is defining
Yeah.
that we have this many whole notes and this many half notes or whatever? How did that get defined? That's what you have to work with.
Yeah.
But it's what we have.
Yeah. And I mean, kind of an interesting detail, but the first place that music is mentioned in Scripture is right in Genesis 4, I believe, after Cain kills Abel.
Yeah.
God
Tubal
tells
Cain.
him to go wander,
Yeah.
and Cain's like, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to go make the city. And I don't think it was Tubal Cain.
No? Or was it Jubal Cain? Jubal Cain, sorry.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, Jeremiah, cut that out of the podcast. I can't let people
Hey.
think I made a mistake.
Pull it up, Jeremiah. Pull it up. We need fact checks.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, what is great grandkid, something like that. A descendant of Cain, who is
Great. No,
okay. How many? Look it up, Jeremiah.
pull it up. No,
By the way, we got Jeremiah holding it down.
yeah,
back there.
at our producer slot.
Yeah. Wow, it's actually working. I thought this TV was gonna explode before it.
Genesis 4, Jubal. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So the father.
I got it first
of
try.
all who play the harp and and flute. Okay, so this is like the first mention
Yeah.
of music. I find that just kind of fascinating. It's
Yeah.
not in like a worship setting. It's not in anything. And I guess you could argue like nothing good's gonna come out of what Cain and his descendants were doing. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's what the Church of Christ believes.
Really.
Yeah, that's why they don't have instruments in their church.
Oh, I'm tapping in on stuff I don't even know.
All
about.
a cappella worship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
So, anyways, I think there's something just beautiful and special about music, and I think it's okay to enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's worshiping or not, it's kind of like movies. You know, I mean, you can go enjoy a movie, but if I'm binging Game of Thrones constantly, and I'm watching more Game of Thrones than I am reading my scriptures, you know, or in prayer or going to church or doing these things.
We don't talk about Game of Thrones.
Okay, sorry. If I'm watching an inappropriate television show with questionable scenes, you know, it's not going to be good for me.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that all television's bad and I can't watch any of it.
Correct.
You know, if I was thinking about this, like even some country music that I love, like I have to kind of check myself and make sure that I'm not adopting this way of thinking, right? Because every song, I mean, with lyrics in it, is trying to get you to adopt a worldview in a way, right? The way they kind of see things. If you like the song, it's because you're relating to it in some way, probably. So
somewhat.
There's a room. Wiggle room in that. Obviously I can like a violent song without wanting to go be violent necessarily, but that's kind of where I was heading is I might not want to be violent after I hear a violent song, but there's a guy named Colter Wall, and he's got this song about this kid across the bar is glaring at him the wrong way, so he busts a bar stool across his head and kills the kid. And you know, I love the song. I know, right? But it doesn't make me want to go out and be violent, but it kind of glorifies it in a way. you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's kind of cool. Like, deep down, like, oh, this kid looked at this guy the wrong way and he just smashed a bar stool across his face, you know?
I'll pray for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Same thing. There's another song, John Came Home, I think it's called. A guy named Benjamin Dakota Rogers. Don't listen to him. But
I'm gonna listen to him all the way home.
okay. No, he's totally cool.
Okay.
I don't think you would like him, but another kind of bluegrass country.
You don't think I like bluegrass?
No. Name one bluegrass.
Ricky Skaggs.
I don't even know who that is. I think you just made that up.
No.
But, you know, his song, he comes home from war one morning. He finds his wife wasn't there. Turns out his wife ran off with his brother. So the dude tracks down his brother and, you know,
A story as old as time.
Yes, you know, but there's something appealing about that story, you know, and like you get wrapped up in that. Maybe it's just me. Anybody else? Jeremiah, help me out.
Ricky Skaggs,
Oh.
Grammy-winning American country and bluegrass musician.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I'm sure you listen to him all the time.
All the time, dude.
No, he doesn't.
It's on my mixtape.
All right. But anyways, the point is, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to that song, but if that's all the content I'm listening to is just like songs about revenge and violence and all this stuff, eventually it's going to start working its way into my worldview. And that's going to affect the way that I might react to a situation where somebody wrongs me, you know, instead of thinking and meditating on a biblical worldview and like, how should I respond to these situations when somebody wrongs me? I'm thinking of all these country
I'm nervous
songs.
sitting next to you right now.
You just be careful what you say.
I will.
Thank you. There's no bar stools.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I think you're good.
That's by design.
Yeah, there's always a weapon used, so I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe this.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
That's connection church mode. Don't break it.
Okay. But yeah, there's nothing inherently bad about all of it, but you do have to be careful how much you're putting into it.
Yeah.
You know, how it's affecting you. And that's just something I think, have to keep an eye on, like all around as far as what we're consuming in this world. We can control what we take in, but we can't control how it affects us. Right?
Yeah.
Good or bad. Like I can listen to all this kind of music, but I don't get to say like what sits in my soul. You know, I don't get to say what like gets locked into my head.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before, but some of that music that we loved as kids, like it gets locked into you. You know, and there are such disturbing lyrics that I wish.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I believe me.
I
dude.
wish I didn't have reoccur. Like I hear a sound that reminds me of that song, and suddenly the set of lyrics that's like I wish wasn't in me. You know, it's vulgar, it's gross, it's all that.
Yeah.
You know, so you do have to be careful what you're taking in.
Yeah. So there's some potentially, like you mentioned, you know, going back to Jubal and Genesis 4, but there's some potentially like interesting theology that I would say is somewhat maybe debatable. It's not like anything that you can just definitively say like, yes, it's this way. But, you know, there's some things that in my heart I kind of hang on to, even though I don't like actively teach them, because it's like, well, I've never been totally settled on it. But, you know, there's three like archangels named in scripture, which is Gabriel, Michael, and Lucifer, you know. And we think of Michael as a warrior, like reading from Daniel when he was doing warfare. Think of Gabriel as a messenger, because that's what we see him doing most of the time, is bringing a message. And then if Ezekiel chapter 28, when it's kind of addressing the king of Tyre, if Ezekiel 28 is in fact talking about Lucifer,
The morning star.
and how he was created with the pipes and the tabrets, you know, and that his place was this cherub above like the mountain of God, and that he was reflecting God's glory and he was the worshiper. Yeah, it's down a little bit further. But if that is in fact, which most theologians believe that it is, talking about Satan, you could say then he was the worshiper, like he was the musician. So you've got warrior, messenger, worshiper. And then, you could look at the influence that Satan has had in music, and it would kind of make sense, and you could also point to like where it says that when he was cast out of heaven, he took a third of the angels or a third of the stars, like it says in Revelation, with him.
Yeah.
So, like he had a troop, Michael had a troop, Gabriel had a troop. His troop was the worshipers.
Yeah.
Designed to worship God, but in bringing glory to God, wanted to keep the glory for himself, was cast out. So if that's the case, you can see the influence and the creativity that he's had in music. And here is one thing I will say about secular or worldly music, is that skill-wise and even creatively, it's always been at least a step ahead of Christian music.
Yeah.
If not more.
Yeah, it reminds me of all those, blues players that tell a story about the railroad tracks.
Yeah, it's all that. But I mean, the creativity of the music, from a musician's perspective, is always ahead, right? And what ends up happening then is at some point, Christians just say, okay, we're going to have to take some of that style and some of that creativity and use it for God's glory. And in a way, I almost think like, well, that's not wrong to do, because that belonged to God to begin with.
Yeah.
And he stole it. And we're taking it back, So you'll see that with a lot of the old hymns, right? Yeah. A lot of the old hymns, Amazing Grace and all these songs, were just tavern songs.
Yeah, that they reworded. Yeah.
Put Christian lyrics to. And now we hold those songs as almost sacred. Like, my goodness, that's Amazing Grace. Yes, that was a tavern song.
Yeah.
Taken and used for the Lord. And I guess my point with that is like, the music that I grew up listening to and playing, it still heavily influences even how I play and worship, even though I'm using it for God's glory. I got it from here, learned how to do it there.
Yeah.
And now I'm using it for God's glory. I mean, I hesitate to say it because I don't want people hearing it when I'm playing. But there's so many times when I play electric guitar, if I start the song, it's just how Guns N' Roses would have started a slow song. I'm picking and strumming the exact same way. And it's like, well, who knows? Because I'm playing this worship song. But in my head, like, that's what I'm drawing on to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if it would be fair to say it's kind of that case with pretty much all of the creative aspects, right? Like the church seems to be a step behind creatively.
Like artistically,
or even like media-wise, like obviously.
But think about this though, not in messaging. Like the best speakers, the best orators, are always preachers.
Yeah,
and it always has been, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not in messaging, and I would even say not in warfare. Christians are not behind when it comes to battle.
Okay.
Like Israel was not behind.
No.
David and his mighty men were not behind.
Yeah.
Even Christians in the military, whatever. I'm not saying that they are the pioneers of it, but I'm saying like, you don't look at a Christian and go like, oh, they just, they're no good in a war.
Yeah, they're not tough.
You know what
They're
I
not
mean?
strategically
Like
sound.
even our nation was founded by Christians in a Revolutionary War, and so. But yeah, maybe artistically.
Yeah, artistically, yeah. The only thing I could think of as far as like orators is like maybe politicians, but people hate politicians now, so probably not.
Yeah, and then if you think of the famous ones who delivered the most powerful speeches,
Christians.
how many of them were believers?
Fair enough.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that there is some aspect of that musically, and maybe other things. I hadn't really thought about it in the context of other art forms.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I know that could be offensive to some people, but it's like, it's just kind of true.
Yeah.
Like the greatest innovations instrumentally and in musicianship have not typically come through the church community.
Yeah, and I think that's a generalization.
It
for
is.
Sure. I think there's definitely been a lot of things that Christian people, maybe it's not from the church necessarily.
Yeah.
But Christian people have come up with, and it's like we think of science as secular, and it's like science was born out of the church,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm still thinking like musically. Like even when, I could point to a bunch of bands like DC Talk or whatever back in the day.
Yeah, they were pulling.
Who were they copying?
Yeah.
That was in the secular world, and it's like, hey, we want to bring this for the Christian community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even slamming it or saying it was evil or whatever. I'm just saying like they gleaned from this and brought it to the church.
Yeah.
John Newton did it with his worship songs. Like it's been a process like that. And it's one that I feel like even personally I have experienced. So it's like, I know there's a spiritual side to music, but I also don't mind kind of ripping that skill off. We were in worship practice. I'm not sure if you were on this Sunday or not. I kind of think you were. I don't remember what the song was, but I had this kind of tone on my guitar at practice, and I was playing this kind of whatever it was, And when the song was over, I just kind of played it, and I noticed one of our worship leaders, she kind of went like that sounds familiar, and I played the exact same chords but in reverse with the same tone and the same beat, and it was a Green Day song.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah. So it's like, okay, I clearly like adapted that style to that worship song.
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't have known how to play that if I hadn't been playing Green Day when I was 14 years old.
I'm going to fall back on David Shredded and came up with all these riffs.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say.
Yeah.
They ripped it off from David.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But perhaps, it's not funny. I was going to say perhaps before he was king, he was a shepherd boy out there playing a little Leonard
Mary
Skinner.
had a little lamb.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's not a absolute statement.
Yeah.
That no Christian has never been innovative in music. Mm-hmm. It's not that.
Yeah, it's true though that we tend to borrow.
We tend to be behind on the pulse of what is like cutting edge in music,
Yeah.
I wanted to add in a little bit. I have pulled up here. I'm sure there's a musician that a lot of people have heard about, known as Bach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Christian, and he was super instrumental in his time. And he was the bleeding edge of music when he was around. And
you go back far enough.
Well, Johann Sebastian Bach definitely was. And I was thinking about him because I even play like on the acoustic guitar, I'll play Jesus, Joy of Man's Desiring. And that's one of Bach's most famous songs. And yeah, he absolutely was a believer. Mm-hmm. But for every Bach, how many Wagner's or Mozart's or the rest of them are there that
Yeah.
were not only, great composers, a lot of them were not good people on top of it, So that's why I'm saying it's not an absolute statement. It's not at all. And I would say even lately, I would say that there have been some instances with some things that like Hillsong has come up with and Hillsong Young and Free that I've heard secular songs come out later that I knew were influenced by Hillsong,
Yeah.
So
I do think the tide's turning.
I think it is too.
Because like new music that I'm listening to or looking for, there's not a lot out there in the secular world
I think
interests me at all. The lyrics are meaningless most of the time. Like it's the same kind of repetitive pop stuff, and even the rock is just all's blah and boring, and I don't know. I'm not super into it. But then, I go through Christian music and I hear guys like Forrest Frank and some of the newer Hillsong stuff, and it's like, this is creative. It's good.
It's very good.
Sure, it's not the first time anything's been played like that, but they're putting a new spin on it. And the tides do seem to be shifting, which is exciting for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wonder why that is.
I know. Yeah.
I wonder if the church has become maybe malleable enough. I don't want to say flexible enough or whatever, because people will say, the church is, softening its standards, or it's not. But maybe
in some ways
is probably true. But maybe the church has become I want to be careful how I put this, but accepting, but not accepting of sin, but maybe just like the church has become enough aware of its liberty to not be threatened when they try something new.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because in the past, every time somebody would try something new, 90% of the church would devour that person.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was a kid and Stryper came out, like Christian rock, and the church was just massacring these guys, right? And same with DC Talk. Same with, when Hillsong, like contemporary worship. This may be a little before you guys' time, I don't know, but like when contemporary worship songs started coming out, it was just, massacred by exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe enough of that attitude has kind of gone away to where now when there are Christians being creative, they can do so without fear of getting like excommunicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And I think they've also Christians have become a lot better at finding that creative aspect, which is entertaining, but also implementing like valuable lyrics, that have meaning and wisdom in them, which is something you're not going to get a lot in secular music.
No, you were not.
I mentioned like Dave Matthews is one of my guys as far as secular music, and I don't know, like the content of his music is something that I value. And I think, and this might sound weird, but like certain artists write songs in a poetic way. They're using poetic imagery to get you to think or feel about a certain thing or way. And that, I don't know, once you kind of understand how that process works a little bit, I think it can translate over to scripture very well, because a lot of times you read through the prophets and stuff like that, they're using a lot of poetic imagery to explain this is what it's going to be like. So I think that's interesting, but this is kind of, I don't know, something I've been thinking about is like Christians lack the lament. You know, it seems like we don't have a good space for a song of lament anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I found a couple Christian artists that have some of it in there, but like that's honestly, when I want a good lament, you know, I'm going and listen to a Dave Matthews song.
Yeah.
You know, there's truth in it. Like he might not even realize the truth that's in it. It's not worshiping God, but it's showing me, you know, what non-believers are going through, what they're feeling, you know, and a lot of times you can relate with that, or at least remember a time, you know, where you felt that same way.
Yeah.
There's a whole song called Gray Street where it's about this girl that's, you know, just feeling helpless and hopeless, and she prays to God, but she doesn't think he's listening, and like all these things, and she's got red blood running through her veins, but it turns to cold blue ice, and it all mixes together and turns to gray, you know, and it's just like, oh, like it's
kind of
powerful.
speaks to you.
It does, you know, and I mean, it's kind of odd. He's not a Christian artist, but I think like I have gained a lot from listening to his music, which is kind of, it's different than what we've been talking about. We've been talking about kind of the entertainment aspect of it, right? The fun side of it, or just the creative aspect of it.
Yeah.
But there's also, I think, in some cases, there's something to be gained out of listening to certain secular music, you know. I think is beautiful, and like I'm not condoning the idea of this girl that's praying and doesn't think God is listening, but that's a reality for so many people. And I think we can get in this bubble where we are only doing Christian activities, we're only listening to Christian music, we'll only watch a Christian show, and it just completely separates us from understanding people outside of the church, you know. And like, I mean, how much of a good opportunity also is it to be connected with these people outside of church, playing in bands outside of church, because you have this commonality. You both love music.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a place where you can minister to people.
Yeah.
You know, you can relate with them, you can be friendly with them, you can say like, no, we're all together here, we're all on the same level. I'm not too good to come play a show with you, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think my verdict is secular music overall, I think it's probably good.
Yeah.
I think it can be used very well and be good for you, but obviously there are dangers and pitfalls. And
yeah. And I think, you know, when we say secular music too, I mean, there's such a huge spectrum of music we're talking about there. But yeah, I think if we're just talking about something being secular versus Christian, does that make it, you know, not profitable for anything? No, that's not true. There are some things it is profitable for. You know, just one thought that I have about secular music is, for some reason, it reminds me of like 1 Corinthians chapter 8, when Paul talks about meat sacrificed to idols.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, he kind of states it like, if it's going to wound your conscience, don't eat it.
Or affect somebody else.
Even though, and he says, even though we know that eating that piece of meat can't actually do anything to affect your relationship with God, if it's going to wound your conscience, like, don't do it, right? And also, if it's going to wound the conscience, like if it's going to cause your brother to stumble or something, then don't do it. But I'm pretty sure in 1 Corinthians 8, Paul even talks about, like, that's why he didn't even ask where the meat came from.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd just rather not know. I just want to eat it.
Yeah, just let me enjoy this.
Sometimes I feel that way about music. Like, I don't want to know all the ins and outs of that person's life.
Yeah, I don't want to know what they're up to.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know, like, what, you know. I just like to hear this,
Yeah.
enjoy it, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And in some ways, I think that's kind of one of the pitfalls of social media. Like, you used to be able to watch a movie and you didn't have to know what all these actors believed or what their backstory was or what their personal life was. But now it's like we know everything about every actor, every singer, and it's like, I don't want to know. You know, it's like sometimes I'd like to just listen to the song.
Yeah.
You know, and oddly enough, I feel like that's a little bit how Paul was with this meat. He's like, I'm just hungry. I just want to eat the meat. I'd rather not know where
That's
this
an
meat.
interesting comparison because it's almost like as if now, like the meat were standing up and saying, "No, look at me. I was used as a sacrifice."
Yeah.
You know. Like it's people want that sort of attention on themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you need to know what I believe.
Yeah.
If you're gonna watch my movie.
Yeah, and it's like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to know what this actor's lifestyle is, or I don't care.
No. Yeah.
I'm just watching the movie.
Yeah.
You know? So, but, you know, so I treat it with that same type of thing. You know what I mean? Now, if the lyrics are just blatantly anti-God or glorifying of Satan or whatever, clearly it's like, I don't, you know, even though it's like, I think probably at this point in my life, I'm strong enough in Christ that it's like, if I heard that, it's not going to like, oh, something happened to me, you know?
You're gonna know where to put it.
Yeah. But I just choose not to listen to that because it is so anti-God, right? But at the same point too, it's like I'll listen to other songs about, you know, love songs or, you know, all this stuff. And it's like, that's a good sounding song, you know, and it's not, you know, it's not like affecting my soul, you know? Yeah. So, you know, but at the same time too, there might be people that for whatever reason it does to them. So I am careful about like what I'm listening to in front of people or, you know, I even thought about that before doing this podcast. It's like, well, I don't want to just be green lighting somebody to like, you know, but that's something that they have to work out with the Lord.
Yeah, it's personal.
You know, and I had to work it out with the Lord. Yeah. This didn't, you know, I didn't get here like overnight. I was completely on the other side of everything we've talked about. And now I'm kind of like here, you know, and who knows, you know, in 5 years, I might even be like, you know, oh, maybe I should push back to here or something, you know. I don't know. That's something I think each person has to work out.
Yeah, I mean, no matter where you are, there's always somebody that's going to be more relaxed about it, and there's always people that are going to be way more serious about it. You know? So like, I feel, you know, like there are some Christians that might listen to some rap music. You know, or doesn't have to be rap specifically, but rap's one that gets me because I think it's very like braggadocious. You know, it's
a lot of times,
like, I'm the man. Like everybody bow down to me. You know, and that's not necessary. I mean, it is kind of like that ego and pride is kind of anti-God in a way, but they're not blatantly being like, violence and you know, no God kind of thing. It's just like I'm awesome. You know, and for me, it's like that's gross. You know, but some people feel kind of encouraged by that, even though, you know, they aren't making stacks on stacks on stacks. You know, they're living a normal life. It's nice for them to hear it and imagine, I guess. That does nothing for me. I can't stand it. I think it's weird.
Yeah. And then I get that. But also, is there somebody who just listens to it, and I'm not saying like the violent or the over sexualized stuff or whatever, but is there somebody who just listens to the rap song
and just enjoys it,
not to identify with the message at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like not even stacks on stacks or even imagining they had stacks on stacks or anything.
Yeah, they're just dancing,
but they just like the song.
Yeah,
it just sounds good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that,
right?
Yeah,
it's like that's kind of how I think of like 1 Corinthians 8 too. It's like, and I hope this doesn't sound like a cop out, but like I don't want to know where the meat came from.
Yeah.
It just tastes good right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking of in Matthew and Jesus, it's kind of maybe a stretch to relate it, but God makes it rain on the just and the unjust, and the sun to shine on the wicked and the righteous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like we all are blessed with this like creative aspect within us. We all, if we want to, get to engage in music. We get to make it, we get to listen to it, we get to plant gardens, cultivate gardens, we get to do
100%.
all these things that are a blessing, and they're like inherently, I believe, good things that can be twisted, that can be misused, and like you mentioned that Lucifer, right, stole music.
I think,
I don't know if it's a stealing as much as he's just misusing it. Like there's a natural desire for it that he knows that we have. So it's not that he owns music now, like he took it from God. He's just like, no, I'm going to put my own spin on this.
No, it's just this thing that he was created with that was designed to be used for this. And it's being used for this.
Yeah.
It's being used for his glory instead of God's glory.
That's all he does. Like he's not coming up with anything new.
Yeah.
He's just twisting what God's created, which is beautiful. And I think music is a part of that. So, if the rain can fall on the righteous and unrighteous, I think a good creative idea.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing on it. I've never thought of that scripture in that light.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're probably, how are we doing on time here?
It is currently, we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes.
Sounds like a podcast to me.
I think we're done.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to hear anything I think?
Sure, Jeremiah.
Where I feel I am on this subject, it boils down to the question of what makes music secular or Christian. Like what differentiates a song to be in one or the other category. Like if a Christian sings a secular song, does that make the secular song a Christian song? No. So it's not the singer. It's not the singer of the song that makes, like, it's not the artist. Just because it's a Christian band singing a song doesn't make the song a Christian song.
Yeah.
It's what the message is of the song that makes it Christian or not, right? Or secular. And instead of going to 1 Corinthians chapter 8, the verse I gravitated toward was chapter 10. Put this on screen here. In verse 23, it says, I have the right to do anything you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. And not everything, so we have to think, what is the messaging of the songs that we're listening to? What are the things that we're pouring into our bodies? Does it align more with this, or does it align more with that? And like Pastor Chris was saying, it's where does your conscience bring you towards? What is this good for me?
Yeah.
So I could listen to whatever music I want. It doesn't matter. But what is it? Is it beneficial?
Yeah.
Is it beneficial to me? And that's basically where I land on it. Listen to whatever song you want, but pay attention to what the message is.
Yeah.
If the message is something that's stealing you away from God, it's not worth it. Pluck out your eye, cut off your arm. It's not worth it. But that's as far.
Yeah.
I don't have as good of a musical background as you guys. I look at music just from a spectator standpoint. I like music just because it sounds pretty. I can't make it myself. I don't have that skill set, and I've listened to a lot of music. There's one song in particular. I don't even really want to say what the song is called or who the artist is, just because it's just I would say it's the worst song I've ever heard in my life. But I remember in middle school, my friends showing it to me because they thought like, oh, this thing is like the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. And it was just like, I just think it's pure poison.
Yeah.
And it's obviously not beneficial, which is why I don't even want to comment on it, because it like, I just, it's bad. But,
yeah, I think that's interesting, and that's, I mean, part of why we're hesitant to like give green lights on things, right? Is because people don't understand this text in Corinthians. And I think it's interesting too that I have the right to do anything. That's in quotes. That's what the Corinthians are saying to justify, whatever they want to do. And Paul's just reminding them like, well, yeah, you can do it. That's true. What you're saying is true, but you need to be considering whether or not it's going to be helpful or beneficial for you, or is it going to be poison?
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, that particular verse was part of a message that I did a few months ago, where I think it was called "The Bridge Is Out."
Oh yeah.
But basically, the Bible gives these lists of like do's and don'ts in Colossians, like, hey, this, and this. But those are basically like to let you know if you've missed out, if you've kind of missed the thing on the all things are lawful, but not all things are profitable. Mm-hmm. And then he goes on to say after that too, that all things are lawful, but I will not be brought under the power of any, right? And then he deals with the issue of, is it causing my brother to stumble, right? And then he says in Ephesians about walking circumspectly. So redeeming the time. So that's, I would add to that one, Jeremiah, about, how does that version put it? All things
beneficial.
All things are, I have the right to do anything, but not anything is beneficial.
What translation is this?
Yeah, it's some
I'm
kind of.
pretty sure this is the NIV.
No, I don't think so.
What?
Is that
NIV?
New NIV?
Newly inspired? No, I'm just kidding. So,
do you want me to pull up a different version?
No, it's fine. But like the all things are lawful. So, I asked those 4 questions. Is it profitable to me? Is it bringing me under its power? Is it harming my brother? And is it a good use of my time?
Mm-hmm. That's a good checklist.
That's a good checklist.
Yeah.
And then if you get off of those things, if you get away from them, you run into those like, hey, the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these. Yeah. So if you've gone sideways and missed one of those appropriate checks, those 4 checks, you'll find yourself in the flesh. And
give me it one more time. What's the checklist?
Is it profitable?
Uh-huh.
Am I being brought under its power? Mm-hmm. Is it causing my brother to stumble? Is it a good use of my time?
Yeah. I wonder like what it would look like to apply that to like every process of your day.
I do. Yeah, I try to. I'm not saying I do it perfectly.
Yeah, because some people are really like kind of they've got a routine. That they follow every day.
Yeah, and you have to define what profitable is.
Yeah.
I like going out once in a while and playing a round of golf.
Mm-hmm.
Is it profitable? Well, how do you define profitable?
Yeah.
It's refreshing to me. It's relaxing. I like it.
Yeah.
So, now if I'm golfing every day of my life, and is this a good use of my time? You know what I mean? So it's like if you really honestly are looking at those 4 questions, it's going to keep your life balanced in Jesus, but, you could, is it profitable? You could say like, you could get very exclusive with that and think of profit only in terms of like, is this building my knowledge of the kingdom of God. And then it's like, okay, well then nothing outside of going to church and reading the word and
Yeah, you can also go too far the other way. Like, does
exactly.
it make me feel good?
Yes.
If McDonald's makes me feel good every day, then it's going to be profitable.
Yeah, but then, what'll help you avoid that is like, okay, but then, so McDonald's makes me feel good or whatever, but now I've almost become addicted to it and I'm under its power.
No longer making you feel good.
Yeah, right. And then, anything is, like I said, it's, if you have those 4 kind of like corners establishing the paradigm of your life, spiritually discerning in those things, is it profitable? Am I being brought under its power? Is it causing my brother to stumble? Is it a good use of my time?
It's a good checklist.
It is a good checklist.
Love it.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jeremiah?
No, that's a great checklist. I echo that.
All right. We concur. All right. Well, I think that's our podcast. Thank you, anybody that was listening. It was a lot of fun. We got a lot of cool things planned with this podcast and this ministry. So stay tuned and thank you for listening. All right. Bye-bye.